Thank you once again. Yes, it is a real pleasure to host such a lovely speakers today at the Wonderland AI. Such an energy today, a really interesting topics around artificial intelligence. I believe that our participants had the chance to really learn about the challenges in implementation of AI, also some good stories how to start with AI from the scratch. But also, if we are talking from the side of the maybe more high level kind of a problems about our policies, ethics, and other stuff, I believe that we need to open a dialogue around artificial intelligence. And today, I'm really happy that we are able here to open, I would say, a first world panel AI at this year Wonderland AI Summit. There are a lot of challenges in implementation, as we had the chance to hear today. And the idea of this panel was also to try to also merge different kind of world regions and to also share the specific knowledge regarding like implementation, because something that could be seen like in San Francisco is not the case maybe in Beirut or in like Balkans regions. And we need to also open a dialogue around those topics, because I truly believe that we need to find a way how to properly communicate in a totally new way, because it's really too fast. I will open this panel with our lady. Leslie, she is also a good friend of mine, where we are also part of the CTI. She is one of the top influencers in Latin America regarding machine learning and AI. Guys, I believe it's the best to start with a lady. And I would like to learn more about like the current challenges in implementation of AI in Latin America, not only from the technical point of view, but also from the point of view where like our society is expecting from us to explain what is really AI and how to tackle different problems, because a lot of people are pretty afraid when we say like artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Bolivia. Here we are in a Friday morning. I'm super happy to join this conference, and thank you so much, Jovan, for the invitation. And it's very interesting what has been happening so far with artificial intelligence since COVID. Also, we have been here about like having these medical exams with AI power, radio X, and so on. And also because of the jobs, so many people here in Bolivia, in Latin America, they are more like sellers and very informal jobs. And now they are having some issues with this. And we are looking forward to help them in the digitalization and help them to get like digital skills, which are more important for what we are facing right now. But at the same time, we have been also like trying to talk like, what is AI? How is it coming? How is it will automate some kind of jobs, and how this will help us eventually? Because I think people are more in their minds like, oh, okay, AI, robots, and that will take our jobs or whatever. But actually, since we are working in having these digital skills, basic skills, how to get into conferences, share documents, and so on, people are getting like more used to see what is technology indeed. And that makes in an interesting side now for us to talk about artificial intelligence. And as a region, a few months ago, we have been working with UNESCO also to tackle the ethical side of AI. And currently, few weeks ago, actually, there has been opening this web portal site where we are talking about ethics, about AI, about jobs, and about legal tech. And that has been a very interesting step for Latin America to have this content in Spanish so more people can get approached, and also to start talking about these topics, not only associate technology with like very smart people, AI with robots, but also trying to make our daily basis like we are using technology for study, for working, for anything, and what will be the next step. And it's been very interesting, like since we are having lots of webinars, lots of people have been talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning indeed, trying to teach people basic concepts and algorithms, but also the data has been another important point, like where are we getting all this data, what data privacy policies there are around. People start wondering what is happening with this, but we are not talking much about this. But
Yep.
with these Latin America and Caribbean committees about ethical and AI, I think we are starting like very, very well.
That's really nice to hear. That's really nice to hear. Yeah, there are a lot of challenges in the domain, and today Goran had a really nice presentation about like different kind of implementation and challenges that Huawei is actually facing with. And Goran, question for you is pretty similar. How do you see like challenges currently in implementation of AI, and how we are able to educate properly like decision makers what is really a real deal regarding implementation? Because in most reports the problem is not technology, the problem is actually in processes and in people that are implementing different kind of modules. How do you see that problem?
Yeah, interesting question. Thank you. Generally, as you said, everything is more or less about the mindset. AI become very accessible today, and as Kate already said, and all my colleagues. So generally, we are already packaging a big amount of power in more or less pretty inexpensive devices that can be on the edge or the data center. So it's not anymore the problem that small country or small company can implement it. It's again more about what Leslie mentioned, that people are afraid that AI will take their jobs. And because the end users that are spending the money on it and generally paying for it, they don't have enough knowledge about it. And what they really imagine, as Leslie said, is robots. So in the end, all education, what we are doing is we're trying on different ways. We are trying through the universities, through industry associations like AI in Serbia, for example, or through different industry associations, so transport and all these things. And of course, we are providing all these kind of webinars that are open, like your conference now that you invited, and thank you very much, and all the others. But I think that it's most important that these conferences will be not only for the ICT environment, but generally for everybody, so they can learn that the AI will bring us quality in the life, not take something from us.
Yeah, that's really good point. There was a really energetic presentation from Mr. Mark Minovich today, where actually he pretty was energetic regarding like creating awareness around like challenges that are right now around us, and that we actually need to also open the dialogues, but not only to talk. There are a lot of webinars, talks, etc., but also we need to make our hands dirty. We need to educate people from the scratch and really to empower like people to do that. And actually this week we had a full program where we started with also our technical presentations and boot camps, and our really good friend Christophe Zoghbi from Beirut was a leader actually who made a really nice boot camp there, where we had really lovely participants who had a chance to learn about like natural language processing, computer vision from scratch. Where Christophe, I would like to learn more about like, okay, what you extracted as a pattern, if you can compare like a Beirut kind of ecosystem, and also what you had the chance to learn more in this week during like Wonderland AI boot camps.
Thank you, Jovan. Thank you for this opportunity to be part of this panel. I'm happy to be part of Wonderland AI. So as you said, this week we had a small bootcamp where we covered natural language processing and computer vision. And if I want to compare, I think you can see the same pattern everywhere. People want to not only know about AI, but know how they can apply artificial intelligence. And this is really important, and we see it a lot. And that's why I think there's a big need for education. So whether is it from a technical perspective, so people want to apply artificial intelligence, write algorithms, play around with data, or whether it's from a business perspective, So decision makers, business leaders need to also understand what AI can do for their business, how they can help improve maybe sales or efficiency or whatever. And this will, push the adoption of artificial intelligence. And I think this is a big problem, everywhere, and mostly in my country and in the Middle East, maybe. So I think that's why education is important. So people should know at least how AI is affecting their lives and how they should not be afraid of it, but rather use it for their benefit, just like any other technology.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of issues regarding that. But during like this, especially situation with the COVID, we really need to emphasize the need for such kind of events where you are able to really, in a fast way, to jump into the education process, if I can say like that. But you have mentioned also that we need to educate our business leaders, like decision makers. And I would like to ask also our partners from Dell, Mr. Ivan, how Dell and actually his team are doing in a way of educating business leaders to use AI and to implement their products in general, because there is a lot of issues regarding, like, a lot of challenges in educating people around some specific high-level stuff, not going into technical details there.
Hi, Jovan. Hi, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be with you today, and thank you for the invitation. Thank you for this question. It's a very good one. And if I think, when I heard the colleagues and when I'm hearing what we, which are into the technology business, what we are doing and how we are trying to educate the people around us, I think we are very good at education of what we know very well. But what we need to assume from another perspective, that sometimes the decision maker can be a CEO from the completely different industry, like oil, like government, like education, which has a different scope on their mind. And we in Dell Technologies are really trying to take the big picture into the account and really present to the decision makers, the outcome, taking the consideration what will be their thoughts, gathering the feedback from them, and really implementing this into our speech. So, for example, you mentioned the several industries. You mentioned that the fear of losing the job is the one where the people are afraid most. And I will say that it's not new. It's happened in the history. Remember the industrial revolutions for a second, each one, always there was a fear on the market. What we need to make sure is that we achieve the goal that everybody are aware which progress as a human beings, as a business we can make by implementing artificial AI, and what is the path forward for everyone. Yeah, because we saw in the history that people introduced machines into the factories, but this as well created some new jobs. Implementation of AI will probably change the way how we work, how we learn, how we live, and but it will create very new jobs. So we need to make sure that we are aware and we preach those to the business decision makers.
Yeah. Can you elaborate regarding some specific like use cases where Dell is using AI or promoting some products that are really creating a value at the end?
Well, I would say that we already mentioned that when you mention to somebody AI, they are thinking about the robots, or maybe they are thinking about autonomous car, which is one of our customer which is using it. And I would say that there is several examples. Let me give you one. Into the finance industry, AI is very much used, and majority of the customer don't even know for it. So, for example, you have multiple big financial companies which are using AI as a fraud detection mechanism. So, and this is a really, really good use case because it's really showing the benefits of the AI, and it's showing to the customer, but as well to the customers of that financial institution, it gives the security. So this is the one example. The second example, you have close in Balkans, you have the company who implemented based on the data lake, some solution which is developing autonomous car driving and so on and so
Nice.
forth. Agriculture as well. So
Yeah, I would say that in this region there is a lot of agriculture kind of initiatives, so we are pretty advanced in that domain. I really need to say that I'm super excited to see my friend from far Nepal here. Rimal is with us. He had some challenges participating on this year event. Rimal, I'm really happy to see you here, man.
Hello, Jovan. Nice to be here. Finally, it was a bit challenging for me as I was tested positive with COVID recently. So right now also I'm in isolation, but I'm good health. I'm in good health. So yeah, it's all good now.
Happy to hear that, man. Tell me, what's the situation currently like in your region? What are the challenges that you are facing with regarding like implementation of AI? I know that you are pretty active there with education and also doing a lot of business in the region.
Yeah, so recently it's been like 4 years now. The adoption in AI or even the development of a lot of these initiatives and programs are really active nowadays in Nepal. And well, unfortunately, because of COVID, a lot of activities are like like a little slow here this year. But I can say like just last year we organized this huge event called AI Expo last year in August, and around 3,000 attendees were there, and up to like 30 plus projects were there developed by enthusiasts, developers, and on different domain, and like solving a lot of different aspect of community problem using AI. So I think it's really, really optimistic. It's really promising, and not just from a ground level from the community, but a lot of big businesses and even the government is really active and looking forward to implement these new technologies and looking for ways to basically how they can foster this environment now. So I say like in Nepal things are really promising in terms of AI and new technology. It's still very slow because the country itself is not evenly distributed in terms of economic levels, but it's going good.
Yeah. Yep. Today we had a couple of presentations where some acknowledgeable like stories regarding like government initiatives were extracted, and we had, for example, today Mihailo Jovanovic, who is one of the leaders in our government, I would say, IT activities. And we can see that the governments are pretty active. Last year, I was also part of a working body that prepared and actually created the national AI strategy of Serbia. And I'm really happy when I see that the governments are actually reshaping or trying to reshape the ecosystem there. And today with us, we have Humaid, who is actually coming from one, I would say, government organization, Abu Dhabi Police, where it will be really interesting to hear what Abu Dhabi Police is doing related to artificial intelligence, where I believe you are doing that with the goal of creating more secure place for your citizens and a more lovely place to be. Hello, Humaid. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, Jovan. Thank you so much for invitation, and it's my pleasure to be one of your panelists this year. Yeah, as you know, as I work for Abu Dhabi Police and part of AI teams, and last 2 years, it's been announced that Abu Dhabi, one of the safest city in the world, because of the technology that's been used in the city that to control each corner of the city and to secure the community and the citizens. This is our jobs to protect the citizen and even the market, because as you know, UAE, we have more than 200 nationalities. It's like a small country with all the global citizen in one place. So it's hard to communicate with them, and it's hard to speak in one languages with each other. So we have like different systems that for if someone call from different languages, we have like a free call assist that using AI that translate in your own languages. So whatever you want to say, you don't need to speak Arabic or English. You can speak your own language, and the system, it's automatically translate that into the case that you are want to report. And beside that, it's controlling the city. When someone get in and out of the city, we know exactly the way how the cases immigrated from one place to another place. You want to control and make to know each part of the city who lives there, because not for example, one part is like more European lives there, so the case is totally different one in the other community. So we need to make every corner of the city is safe and controlled all the time. So during the COVID-19, as you know, the infrastructure, once you have the very good infrastructure, some countries they stop working, and the streets is like empty. So how you can deal with that these cases? I know it's challenging for some countries, but here as we have like a very good infrastructure, we don't need to have like petrol car in every corner. We have like all the CCTV around the city, so you can see and detect any aspect.
Yep.
Beside that, the education, it's even the very important of the country. It's keeping the education is ongoing, not stopping. So this is one part. Our goal is keeping the education of the citizen ongoing, not stopping. As this part of our mission, not for the police, is even as part of the government to keep the citizen for education is ongoing. So we once the pandemic is start, everything is shifting remotely from home with just only 3 to 5 days delay in education system.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure was it's ready before it's happened.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting, especially because we are here on at the World Panel AI, where we have different regions, of course, and if we are talking about like country legislations, of course, that we see a lot of differences, and especially if we are talking about some cultural differences regarding like relation to data, what does it mean like to be ethical regarding AI? We can see and hear actually different kind of approaches here. And in general, I believe that today we need also to emphasize the importance of creating a more ethical artificial intelligence, where, of course, countries need to find the ways how to, I would say, create it in more personalized way. I would like to encourage our participants. We have two, I would say, types of participants, those that are here and those that are on a live session. Simon is with us here. He has a question. When will AI learn and understand human psychology and ethical models to presumably make the common man more comfortable with intelligence as a tool, AI and human intelligence working together? Who would like to answer on this?
Yeah, I did research on this part of psychology and start to understand the people, because this is like, as you know, we have like more nationality in one place, so we need to understand each behavior of each citizen. So you can build an algorithm that understand the behavior of different nationalities and the movement, and what you can predict from each citizen, what cases you will be expecting from one to the other. So this is like once we have like huge data and extracting the behavior and the study of each different region, you will get at the end with some matching of different cases and what you expect, because as you know, so much software right now, you can upload a huge number of data, and it can predict the scenario what you are looking for. For example, if you want to know a certain type of citizen and what they like, and for example, each citizen, they have like own habits or something they are more interested, so it can give you like a hint. It's not accurate by at the end, but you will get like for example 80% of the results what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think that facing with ethical challenges, there are a lot of questions around it. Goran, what are your thoughts regarding like ethical challenges right now? Especially, okay, today we have different nationalities, but you as one of the leaders in Europe regarding like implementation of AI, you are facing with also a lot of challenges. Maybe, okay, Europe is more structured, I would say, more closer playground there. And there are a lot of similarities, but especially like in specific cultures, we can see and extract specific kind of, I would say, attitude to ethical challenges regarding AI.
That, honestly, it's a complex and simple question in general. If we'll speak, because everybody's interested in what's happening in China, because we are representing a China company, everybody will be surprised at how much Chinese government is doing for AI, as they have some strategic, let's say, targets to become one of the most advanced countries in AI. They're supporting everything that is aligning with these targets, and because of that, they're trying to put all the laws in a parallel, not being late and not leave tools and technology to misuse these kind of data sets. From the other side, what we're expecting, for example, to be more developed countries here in Europe and in some countries in the Nordic, for example, their culture of privacy is not allowing, let's say, government to put some tools in use. So if we speak about Nordic, they really try to avoid any kind of CCTV cameras. So you can really break the laws driving your car on the streets, and you will not be caught by taking the photo of the camera, because they're avoiding these things. But when it comes that you will destroy the property, for example, metro wagons, they're very, let's say, willing to put the cameras and to use AI to detect this kind of, let's say, behavior. So all of this is generally, again, coming to the cultural things, what you said, mindsets, adopting the understanding of technology, because everybody thinks that now when we have widely used AI, that it will be much easier, of course, it's not much easier, that everybody will start to look in your privacy and in your data, and to start to use it in a wrong direction. But people need to understand and to remember that there is a set of procedures defined by law, how somebody can approach your data and how somebody can process your data. And it doesn't matter which kind of tool he's using it. So nobody changed these, let's say, laws and procedures. And this is something that needs to be all the time in the place, because this is what is protecting us from any kind of, let's say, violations. So in these terms, I will fully agree with some panelists and with some of the speakers before, smaller countries are more flexible than the bigger ones. And they're really trying to even to make breakthrough, not only to use the practices from the other countries. So it's probably very connected to the leader in that time that is responsible for that part.
Yeah.
So there is not some clear answer on which country or which, let's say, half of the globe is doing better.
Yeah. In Europe, something that could be seen, okay, the GDPR created a structured way of like managing your data. And I'm super positive regarding that. Of course, always we can do it better. But I'm really curious, lastly, do we have in Latin America some kind of a similar initiatives where some regions or your country is specifically making a framework for better like management of your data and privacy, like in general?
Yeah, I think the first step to realize the importance of data and gather all the data and how public they should be, it has become with the COVID-19, where we were trying to follow like every day how much cases positive we have and so on. And then people realize, okay, we can have this data, we can know where the positive cases are, but it's not good to know who are these people, where they live exactly. And that's how they start thinking like, oh yeah, we have data that we can collect and have it like at the health ministry or with the government, whatever. But there are some of this data that cannot be public, actually. And there have been some civic teams and communities, they have been like sort of complaining about data, how they are using our data, because as government also, there was this option to have a mobile app where you can actually register your personal data and sort of your symptoms if you're having COVID or whatever. It has been like a nice initiative, but people start also realizing what they want my specific data. And since we have people that are very like pro technology and we should do anything because technology is gonna help us, we also have these other people like questioning, like, it's okay, you can follow like where, in which city I am, how hard the COVID-19 is here, but I don't want to give you my name. So that's why people start like talking about this. There are some social movements about data privacy and, you know, like privacy in social networks in general. That's happening in Bolivia. And also there was this sort of interesting thoughts when Google, they launched this Google Mobility for COVID-19. They were having data from all around the world. We could have found data from Bolivia and see like how mobility has changed, because they are actually, you know, tracking on Google Maps and whatever. And there was still people like, oh, we should not let this happen or whatever. But it's very like people complaining, so the other people trying to get like that. That's important to know in somehow. But something as data privacy in Bolivia is not really working on. In Latin America, I know there are some countries also like getting this awareness about how important it is to have data privacy policies. I know in Argentina and Chile, they are also like working somehow with governments to get into more AI. They have been developing chatbots to chat actually with people with this massive emergency. And they are also like trying to ask people or some experts how they should handle this. And most people also in Latin America are aware about the GDPR, how it is working, what is happening there in Europe. But we are not actually like having a specific rule or policy. But the good point is that people are getting aware, our governments as well. And also different countries in Latin America, as I mentioned, they have been adopting like technology, but also like chatbots or like some other applications that are getting closer to governments, like how AI actually is helping the processes. and also like starting wondering what is going to happen with data. So I think this also like conversation is very interesting for us to get to know like what's happening in other places, what's the reaction of people, because cultures and things are very different. And I feel like here we are a bit more relaxed and just downloading an application, sending some data, and then realizing, hey, why I'm giving this information of mine. But now with the COVID and everything, people are more aware. That's a good thing. Like, why I'm doing this or the other, who's having my information. And yeah, so I think we are working on this, and right now it's a good opportunity actually to address the topic again.
This is really sensitive topic in general. But I'm a believer in open data initiatives. Like in the UK, there are really good examples where open data is used in creation of better systems, like battery AI that is really helping like citizens in like their performance, etc. And I'm really super happy that today Mikhailo from our government, he also emphasized that they are thinking about like opening the data for like companies. And in general, of course, we need to find the framework that will regulate that in a proper way. And maybe that is also aligned to some point with our next question here from our anonymous attendee, who is saying, who is asking that, okay, how we could, how do you make sure that products you're working on are going to have a positive impact on the world? Crystal ball probably, but in general, if we have some kind of framework that is helping us to have as much data as a fuel to our engines, probably we have a better chances. But I'm really curious, Christophe and Ivan and maybe Rimal, from your thoughts, can you answer and maybe elaborate on this question? How we are able to ensure that our products are really aligned with some ethical, technical, and other like segments, parameters, I would say, that are important for creating like AI that will really create a positive impact. And of course, we need to define what means like to have a positive impact in general. Maybe Chris, you can take from there.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So I think you can take as much measures as you can to make sure that your product is, let's say, it has a positive impact. But at the end, it's technology can be used for good and bad, and it's just you have to make sure to be as transparent as you can with the user. For example, to go back to the idea of privacy and data versus AI models. So we all know that what you need for AI is data, and a lot of data, and the quality of your data will basically determine the quality of your models. And so there's this debate which basically like how much data I can give away versus how much customization I need. And so in my opinion, as long as you're transparent with the user of what kind of data you're collecting, and as long as the user is fully aware and gives you their consent that, okay, I'm willing to give you my data, whether it's location or anything else, then you can you're free to do whatever you want and to basically build customization and use this data. So it's just, I think, a matter of being transparent and making sure that you're taking responsibility of this data that the user is giving you.
Yeah. And maybe to add something, for me, it is interesting in this question also, what can be done when idea to do good turns upside down intentionally? Do we have like opportunity to have that, like possibility to go back? Even maybe I know Rimal, and also to add more on this general question.
I can I?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I would say that it's a very good question, because hearing all of this, hearing what is happening for the people around, it's suddenly they feel that the data is becoming the most valuable asset. So it's it's somehow you're creating your identity into the world in which we are going. So protecting this data on the right way, exactly what we are trying to implement into our infrastructure, where the Dell technologies come to the game. To have the cyber resilient infrastructure, which is only part of the whole ecosystem. And it's I would say it's not easy for the whole industry, because implementing artificial intelligence solution within the closed environment of the data center is much easier. And let me give you an example. If you want to implement artificial intelligence, let's say Formula One racing, it will be much, much easier, because you are into the closed environment of the circuit with all the cars having the almost the same technology and communicating between each other and communicating within this environment. But transfer them to the real world in the center of New York, they will be lost. Why? Because in New York, you hear something, you smell something, which is very difficult pattern for the artificial intelligence. Coming back to the security, again, what I emphasized before, I think we need to, talking with the wider community, we need to emphasize on the as much as simple way, non-technology, with what is the benefit. And let me give you example. I was witnessing, and we are witnessing, especially in the Europe, that a lot of people are consider about data, which you mentioned before, how the government will use my data, why the CCTV, and so on and so forth. But none of those people are not against that the policeman on the street stop them and ask them for the ID, which is basically the same thing. It's our goal to make the awareness that policeman is now transformed into the CCTV, and then only the special person will have access to their data. Again, this coming back to the latest question, it needs to be top secured. The whole environment, data becoming the most valuable asset, and we really need to explain to the customer where it is.
Yep. Rimal, can you brief a little bit more on this? It's
Yeah,
really
sure.
an interesting topic here. I need to elaborate more here.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's really interesting, and it's an important question as well. And talking about the making sure the impact the AI products will create is positive. I guess it's not just about technical aspect of things, more like policy and how, and like other panelists suggested, how these data are collected for this AI system. So technically, we can make a robust system, which is secure, performant, and does what it meant to do. But to make sure that the things that the AI system does is making a positive impact, it all boils down to what kind of AI systems are allowed to be created, by government or some regulatory bodies. So, like in case of Europe or other part of the world, if we govern, like, okay, there are many things that AI can automate, but are we willing to automate that aspect of those things? So it all boils down to the policy that the country or the governing body has, for this kind of system to be built. And if we have a like a focused and empowering policy that also like aware of data ethics and all these aspects, I guess we can really like okay, we can be assured, like, okay, whatever when we follow this policy and this like governing ethics, then we can be ensured that the products that will be created following that will be creating a positive impact to our community.
Yeah. Goran, do you have any thoughts regarding this?
Honestly, yes. I think that because a lot of people are having access now and can play, let's say, with development of some technology, they're forgetting that to put some technology as a product on the market, first you need to follow the standard. Then you need to certify. So we are not speaking about policy that will be good to follow. We are speaking about strict, maybe close to law, but technical laws that you need to follow so you can put the product on the market. This is something that generally is happening now with AI. This is something what the world is now let's say, establishing or now as a standard, and we are involved in this kind of standardization. And very soon, as it is for telcos, as it is for different kinds of products that you're buying in retail, for each industry, still you will have the same thing for the AI. Concerning the access to the data and using the data, again, as colleagues mentioned, yes, you need to have a special role, but I think that we are a little bit forgetting how before you were accessing the administration password. It was in the safe, you need to get 3 signs, and then you have the access to some data. So again, here, to, let's say, to do recognition on CCTV, and believe me, we know about it a lot because we are pretty famous as a Huawei to implement these kind of systems. You need to have the same rights as somebody needs to be followed, or somebody needs to be under some special, let's say, measures. So he needs to come with a paper, or at least come with some special digital signature that he will start to get the data about some person. So all the procedures that were happening 30 years ago in terms of how you're getting somebody's personal data are happening today, maybe just faster and even more transparent, because all logs you have now, if somebody tried to do something on the system, you can find it out. So I think that just people having this all the information and how it's easy and how it's fancy, and they're getting this a lot of noise and not the right information, how generally the products and technology are going on the market and being commercial. Because it's not the same playing with some model to see some pilots, to do the proof of concept, to see what kind of training model and data and algorithm you can get. It's about what will be the product like after it. So, and you cannot control the usage of that tool. I just give a small and fast example. We are doing in Nordic recognition of the fishes inside the river. Okay, so you can see the migration between the ladders using on the hydroelectric station, and you can see between the lake how many fishes, which fish, what the size, even what the gender is. So we're using it to protect the ecosystem. So of course, somebody can use that same system to choose the best fish for his lunch and choose only the biggest one. Yeah, so it's a question, of course, that how you will use the tool is regulated by criminal law, and how you will build the tool is regulated by standards. Yeah, and how you're using private data is regulated by GDPR, for example, and some ethical, let's say not only ethical but real laws that are coming to the real world. So I think that it's of course we need to be afraid, because when we are afraid, we are doing the best things, and we are becoming curious, and we're trying to do the best from ourselves. We're doing our best. But I just want to say to all our, let's say, listeners and people that they are looking at us, standards, laws, everything is on place, and don't be afraid about AI. AI is good, building the good things to everyday world and to our everyday life.
Great, Goran. That's the manner that I wanted to hear at the end. Like, we are closing to the end of our panel here, and that's something that needs to be emphasized. The AI is a tool, and we need to find a way how to do it, like, and use it properly to build, to fail fast, but also to build something that will be powerful and that will be like a help, assistance to people around us. Some like, we have 2-3 minutes more. Some short tips from all of you at the end. Lastly, I would like to learn more. Of course, we can talk for hours regarding this topic, but yeah, we are pretty late so far.
Yeah, well, first, again, thank you so much for the invitation. It's really nice to know what's happening with our global AI community. And from my experience, also this year has been crazy with the public sector and private sector. But I would really encourage people that are very into technology to also get some time to explain other people far from our field to how technology works, to explain how technology works, how good it is for learning, for working. Indeed, this is a tool, what we are expecting for that. And also, I would like to recall Andrew Ng from Coursera, that he says that AI is the new electricity. So I just like to think about like how was life before having electricity, how was education, work, and so on, and how is it after. And I expect something interesting from AI, from also that's going to support education, finances, every other field. I think that's one of our responsibilities, right? To encourage other people to get to know about technology, to get closer to digital world, and to see like this is actually happening. The world is not stopping to get into digital. It's not stopping to get into AI. And it's very important for us to spread that word, and also to be a larger community about people that are interested in AI.
Yep. Lovely said. Actually, at my intro talk today, I was elaborating around like electricity industry, electric industry, like 100 years ago, and like adoption of AI right now. And something that was really interesting for me, there was like illnesses in that period that were, the name was like neurasthenia, where people were afraid of like electrical devices and electricity in general. And that was really interesting to see like in those years, because right now like 90% of our world is having electricity, and we cannot imagine our lives without it. And as Andrew said, okay, AI is the new electricity. Is going to be really amazing to see where we are going. Short tips from Humaid, Ivan, and Rimal, and Goran for the end. We are closing to the end of the panel.
Yeah, let me start from my side. As you know, before, if we talk about AI, once the pandemic start, it's pushing every country to transform and do a lot of research and improvement in their technology. Before the technology was a little bit slowly, but once the pandemic start, every country in the world it comes closely. And instead of traveling between from one country to another country, we can chat within the same time within different location and finish all our work easily. Before it was like struggling, traveling, and taking time, and also like immigration. Some people they need a visa to get there. It's a lot of crazy things. But once the pandemic started, the transformation of the whole world is getting like closely. Everyone need each other and grabbing their hand and try to push this technology together and make the world even help to everybody.
Thank you, Humaid. Really fast, Ivan. One sentence, too.
Really fast. What I saw in the before pandemic, that the most of AI projects stuck into the, let's say, POC, and then it was the problem, and it was touched today several times, problem to make it further. We are here to help with that. I think the whole industry needs to, time is now to emphasize the benefits of the AI. Goran mentioned, well, it depends how to use it, like everything. Knife, you can, use knife in every kitchen, but you can as well do nasty things with the knife. The same is with AI. In my view, with a wise implementation, which I believe we have across the world, we will make the world better.
Great. Lovely put. Rimal.
Yeah, well, in addition to what our panelists already said, so to better understand AI, or to develop this empathy towards this new technology, if you are into technology or building stuff, then it's a good idea to use that technology to solve local challenges and problems. So doing that will create this empathetic perspective towards this new technology. And I guess in terms of AI, when we start solving little problems of our community using this technology, that will really accelerate its adoption.
Great. Great. And finally, Goran, please, we don't have any time as main sponsor of this year event. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I'm inviting everybody to try AI, and they will be amazed how AI can bring some new quality and benefits in their everyday life. And I wish everybody to do it.
Lovely put, my man. Thank you all for being here with us. Thank you for being part of Wonderland AI. I hope to see you next year at the live event, and we are going further. My friend Hubert is having a really nice next speaker, where I'm also eager to learn more about VC playground right now in the AI field. Thank you all. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.